authority being the police. And I'm just using that. And then, people are already uprising against DJT because they like, he is sending everybody into this war. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing all this foolishness for? People is reading in between the line. This man is being revealed, right? This man is being revealed. This Second Thessalonians 2:3. Let no one deceive you in any Salakia. This ain't the King James, y'all. Second Thessalonians 2:3. How much time? Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, which is Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the son of perdition, the son of destruction, right? So he's being revealed in this time, y'all. And people are gonna start rebelling, right? And there's going to be a lot of talk of and there's been a lot of that on Instagram, right? Let me pause this. Not on Instagram, Salakia, on TikTok. Now these Edomites have been calling for Jake to do uprisings, and they waiting for Jake to be the face and to give their bodies as a sacrifice to the causes that's happening here in Babylon the Great. They are waiting for Jake to do so, and Jake is real good at causing a sedition, to happen, right? A conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or a monarch, and they're waiting on this, right? Now something's gonna happen to where they're gonna do something to cause Jake to get up and start, or it's just gonna happen regardless, and Jake gonna just get caught out there. But here a video on TikTok saying the same thing, y'all. Let me see how much time we got. Matter of fact, let me just start it.
Post that was just like, the fact that people aren't rioting in the streets of America is truly astounding. And the first comment under it was, they're waiting on black people to do it. And now that I think about it, that is literally facts. The reason why things are not happening right now the way they should, and riots are not happening the way they should, is because
look, they've been wondering why Jake ain't getting involved in all of the craziness that's been happening, like with the Epstein files. Because if Jake was really involved in that, it would have been an uprising. It would have been an uprising. Jake would have went out there on the streets, but it would have gave these Edomites an excuse to delete Jake, right? So Jake is catching on, like, man, we're gonna just mind our own business. This ain't got nothing to do with us, right? But but yeah, y'all. So let me play this video a little bit. But these Edomites, they are waiting for Jake to do something, so there can be a uprising that's happening, and it eventually is going to be that. It's just it ain't no telling if Jake is going to be the one that sparked that thing off, right? Because it says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another," right? So whatever that causes the civil war between us, it could be ICE doing what they're doing. And now look, not even ICE didn't get Jake riled up. Well, I would say Judah. It didn't get Judah, Benjamin, and Levi all riled up like that. But it got Northern Kingdom, they out there protesting and stuff like that. But yeah, so that didn't do it quite well as we know it right now. It didn't do it, because you never know. And this summer that's coming up could very well be that ticking time bomb, right? Because once they start coming down on Judah, Southern Kingdom, right? Once they start coming down on Southern Kingdom, shall I say, then things is gonna really, increase. Then Jake have a reason to start doing some sedition, right? When ICE hit them. So let's go back to this and listen to what he said. I'm gonna go back some more.
Is truly astounding. And the first comment under it was, they're waiting on black people to do it. And now that I think about it, that is literally facts. The reason why things are not happening right now the way they should and riots are not happening the way they should is because they want us to be on the front lines of it, like we always are of every revolution in American history. But this time we don't want to do it because we know how that turns out for us. It just turns out them labeling us as the usual suspects. It's just an easy excuse for them to put violence on us or attached to us as like a part of our character or something.
Jake like a lion crouched down, right? Jake is in that docile state right now where they, in a sleep like state, but Yahweh Shai gonna get him pumped back up. Yahweh Shai gonna get him turned up, right? So let's so this is Second Esdras 15 and 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Right. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna play on this, y'all. Where's that other video at? I'll play a little bit more.
Woodcock and Jared Kushner. Joining us now to break down these developments and all the week's political news is UC Santa Cruz political.
Matter of fact, it didn't even get to it. The China. Here we go.
Iran wants to make a deal.
And where it hurts their wallets.
They're not doing any business. They're unable to do any business because of the blockade.
Underline may help create space.
Better position today.
Mr. Ambassador, it's good to see you as always.
Laura, thanks for having me. And Israel is at war with Hezbollah. Now, the Lebanon, or let's
It's working against their own economy, but
the Communist Party has been profiting handsomely over the past number of years from cut rate discount Iranian oil. That got turned off a week ago with the president's blockade of Iranian shipments. So China's going to be feeling the hurt right now in much the same way that the mullahs in Tehran are starting to feel the hurt. But let's be clear about what we face here. China is a full spectrum competitor to the United States. They're helping our enemies everywhere they can, and it's not just Iran. So as the president eyes a meeting with Xi Jinping coming up in the coming weeks, I hope that he and his advisors are prepared for some tough conversations about America's chief geopolitical rival.
and then we're learning about this jet fuel shortage, which people think, oh, it's only in Europe. That's not going to impact the United States. But this could have a ripple effect across global travel because of what's happened to both the price of jet.
And then they just had they sent out an emergency. What is it called, y'all? An emergency. It's like an emergency warning or whatever to the Americans, telling them to be circumspect on where they traveling. Be more vigilant when you out there traveling and stuff, because the world is turning against Babylon the Great, right? So not only is they doing that, and it's going to be a hard time traveling to these other places anyway, which will go into a man shall want to go into a city, won't be able to. This is 2 Esdras 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, right? And when you think of city, you think of like Detroit, New York, right? These type of places, Miami, these type of things, right? But these aren't just the only things that are cities. Babylon the Great itself, America itself, the United States itself is a city, right? Any place where they have citizens is a city. And if you're a citizen of the United States, that means that this place is a big city, right? Just as well as these other countries as well. They're just called countries now. These other nations, they're just being called that now in this time, but they have always been great cities, basically, right? Populated with citizens. and you won't be able to go there freely. You won't be able to travel, you know. And on a micro level, you definitely, when the blockades come from the armies that's gonna be here, right? When they come and set up blockades where you can't just travel as freely as you want to, yeah, it's gonna be, you ain't gonna be able to travel to an actual city here, right? So that's pretty much what I'm gonna get on this, y'all. Like China is starting to feel it, so they're about to enter into the chat, right, so to speak. So hopefully, you brothers and few sisters have been edified, and with that, I'm gonna give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Shalom, y'all. On to the next one.